This is steel slag, the residual material from a smelting furnace. It is dirty, potentially hazardous, and expensive to dispose of. For many years, steel companies simply viewed slag disposal as a cost burden. But in the early 1990s, Texas Industries, a cement manufacturer, discovered that steel slag could be converted into a valuable raw material for cement production. Texas Industries was located literally across the fence from one of its subsidiaries, Chaparral Steel Corporation, and they began to collaborate on reusing byproducts. This eventually led to a patented process called Semstar, now being marketed worldwide. The process reduces energy use by 10 to 15% and reduces carbon dioxide emissions per ton of cement by 10%. For this breakthrough, the company received a U.S. EPA Climate Protection Award and a ClimateWise Award. This is just one example of the benefits of an approach called byproduct synergy. So, what is byproduct synergy? It is a new way of doing business, where all wastes are considered as potentially valuable resources, where one company's trash becomes another company's feedstock. By shifting from a disposal mentality to a reuse mentality, we can eventually eliminate the concept of waste from industrial supply chains. Across the U.S., we have seen some very creative examples of byproduct synergy. Here's one example from Utah.
A modern cement plant is on a much bigger scale, but even ancient Romans knew you can heat up limestone to make cement. Those Romans never imagined using Little Mermaid Huggies for fuel. That's what helps the Devil's Slide cement plant save nearly $1 million a year.
Of our total operating costs, fuel cost is roughly 1/3.
The traditional fuel is coal. Here they add to the fuel mix chunks of rubber tires and chopped up waste plastic. Much of the waste is from Kimberly-Clark's Huggies factory, leftover chunks of disposable diapers. They dump the waste into burners that preheat limestone to about 2,000 degrees. It reduces coal consumption by 30%.
We also are conserving a natural resource, and we're also keeping a lot of materials out of landfills that would normally just go there.
A consortium called the U.S. Business Council for Sustainable Development coined the term byproduct synergy. The Business Council has developed a proven, repeatable process for discovering and implementing synergies among groups of companies. These groups are called byproduct synergy networks. In a nutshell, the goal of these networks is to match undervalued byproduct streams with potential users. Participating companies are exposed to each other's production systems, input needs, and waste streams. Through a facilitated process of collaboration, they identify innovative ways to streamline their operations, avoid pollution, save energy, and reduce material costs. Byproduct synergy sounds like an easy win. However, companies that begin to adopt byproduct synergy practices can run into a number of barriers. One of the most common barriers is the technical challenge of acquiring new technology and learning new skills. Sometimes companies will need to make initial capital investments to get started. It is also important for companies to consider regulatory constraints when they change how wastes are managed. And of course, there are also cultural barriers like the tendency to resist innovation and cling to business as usual. One of the most remarkable success stories in byproduct synergy is a network in the Chicago area that has grown to include about 100 companies. Through their combined efforts, they have been able to divert 22,000 tons of waste per year from landfills to be used as feedstocks, and they have reduced CO2 emissions by about 45,000 tons. These practices represent annual savings of about $4.5 million. Among the many companies involved are Sherwin-Williams, Abbott Laboratories, Kraft Foods, and Smurfit Stone. In the state of Ohio, there are a number of companies that are practicing byproduct synergy. For example, Owens Corning, a world leader in building materials, has made waste recovery a cornerstone of its business strategy.
The use of recycled materials is very important to our business strategy. We are the largest consumer, one of the largest consumers of recycled glass in the world, and it's very important for the energy intensity of our products because we use that glass in our furnace operations to make our fiberglass insulation. And the amount of recycled content that we use today reduces our energy intensity by about 13%. And for our entire business, every percent reduction in energy intensity drives about $5 million to the bottom line.
Byproduct synergy cannot be accomplished overnight. It is a process that requires commitment, patience, and learning new practices. But in the long run, the benefits will far outweigh the time and cost invested in making it happen. For more information about taking advantage of byproduct synergy in your business, contact the Ohio EPA, the U.S. Business Council for Sustainable Development, or the Center for Resilience. Turn waste into profit.